Hi guys. I'm Lety, as you can tell. We're doing personal stories. Um, this is related to our topics, like
Supernatural.
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 hmm
Yeah.
Talking about a show we're not gonna talk about.
Yeah, this is not a show. These are real events, real stories
hmm
from some listeners, some personal stories. So that's kind of the idea. You're for the next 30 minutes or so, you're gonna listen to a couple of those stories. So get
I,
ready for that.
I do want to point out if any listeners have any personal stories that they would like to share, you can always DM us if you're willing to let us
hmm
know if we can share your story.
Yeah,
Just
DM
hit us up.
Carlos to his Twitter. It's linked down below. Email us. I will be reading your emails, or
Or you can
yeah,
comment.
or comment down below.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to
But
get right into it,
yeah,
Letty?
let's get right into it. There is, I have lived in two different houses, um, but the first house, we'll call it the Mohican house.
Okay.
I don't really have that many stories. I think the one that has more stories from that house is my brother. But I will say that I did feel a presence always behind me when I would walk, or I would hear footsteps. But that's about it. Where I have had more experiences the house where I live right now with my parents. I see shadows out of the corner of my eyes. But my favorite story, and this happened to my sister. This is like the main thing that has happened to us ever. I feel, at least I feel like it was kind of like a big deal. Was Me and my sister are 10 years apart. So I was what 16, I think. My sister's 6. Um, and she was bothering me and stuff like that. And my mom saw, right? Because usually it's always me the one that's getting in trouble. My sister always finds a way for me to get in trouble. But this time my mom saw it and she says, "I'm gonna scare you in the middle of the night, so you need to back off," right? And my sister stopped, right? Okay. So she says that she was asleep in her bed, and keep in mind, okay, so the door is the you enter the room and she has her little mirror there and she has a bed, and then to the right of the door there's a closet. Did I kind of picture?
Yeah, like the the way you walk into that room is obviously you open the door and you're gonna see to your left. That's where you're gonna see the mirror, and then on the corner that's opposite of the door, that's where the bed is, and it's kind of laying to the corner.
It was the mirror.
Uh-huh.
It was the mirror, and then next to the mirror is the bed.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So, and next to the bed on her left, if you're laying on the bed, you're looking at the door on your left, and obviously next to the door is going to be the giant closet.
Mm-hmm. That's what. And she heard the door open, and she's kind of looking.
At this point, she's laying down, right?
Yeah, she's laying down, and she had just woken up because she heard the door, and she's been waiting because my mom told her that she was gonna scare her, right? So she sees my mom she's hooded up and she's wearing all black, but
yeah, it kind of looks like a hooded.
Yeah, like
Like a robe?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's
There
like a
you
black
go.
robe.
And she says that my mom starts tippy-toeing to the closet. She opens the closet and hides in the closet. But she saw her like kneel down. She didn't close the closet. And my sister looks and she goes, okay, like she was ready for our mom to scare her. So she covers herself with the blankets and she kind of yeah, she's waiting, but she's kind of giggling to herself like, haha, I caught you, mom, like you're not gonna scare me. And she ended up falling asleep. The next day she tells me and my mom this story, and my mom kind of like, haha, yeah, you caught me, to not scare my sister. But my mom looks at me and she goes, Letty, that wasn't me, like I didn't do that. Like my sister, right now she's 13 and she barely found out that whatever she saw wasn't our mom. It was, I don't know what it was, but
and I guess that's kind of funny because that kind of leads. That's not the first time we see I guess you would say a double ganger, because that's what that was. If it really did take the shape of my mom, the way my mom looked, because that would go to my story. But I mean, I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and other than that, I saw at that same house. It was late and I was on the laptop, but I usually sleep with my door open because I have dogs and they like to sleep with me, but sometimes they roam the house, so I leave the door open so they don't scratch and wake me up. So I left the door open, and that one night I saw a little boy with a blue hoodie and black jeans walk to my brother's room, because my brother literally his room was right across the hall. Like the bed was in front of the door and the door was open, and I could see into his room if his door was open. I saw the little boy walk to the room, the door is closed, and he just walks through the door. So that's when I knew. I was like, holy shit, this isn't my brother, it's time to go to sleep. I closed the laptop and I fell asleep. I've never gotten scared where I scream or I have to go call my mom or I need someone, but I'm always like, okay, I'm seeing this, it's time to either ignore it or just go to sleep. Like, it's always been like that for me. I've never experienced anything to the point where I scream or I have to do something.
Seems like you've definitely developed coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Because I mean, throughout most of our lives, we've all been open to the paranormal, pretty open-minded to things like that. And I guess I'll jump in with my story here. I don't know, maybe I was pretty young. I don't think my baby sister was in the picture yet.
Levana, no.
No, she was in the picture.
I must have been like 6, maybe you were like 10, 11, since we are 5 years apart.
Maybe I was 12. You know what? Okay, point is, I was 12 years old, right? And the layout of the house was interesting. I'm not going to get too detailed, but what I had to do to get from my room to my parents' room was literally go across the house. The house was basically, it was like a giant rectangle. That's what it was.
This is at the Mohican house.
This is at the Mohican house. So it was basically just a giant rectangle, and I was on one corner and my parents were in the other. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking nothing of it, just regular. You know, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was a school day. It was a school night. So I was like, fuck, like I need to go back to sleep. You know, I need to go back. Jeez, I was gonna say work, right? But same thing. I need to wake up the next day so I can go to school. So back then, guys, for all you people that don't know that technology is pretty recent in our time, I didn't have a clock in my room. I didn't have a phone at the time. I didn't really have anything. So I was like, okay, cool. But I knew
probably had a TV in your room, right? No TV?
No, I didn't.
We had a TV room.
We had a TV room.
Okay.
So moving on, right? I didn't really have anything like that. I had a computer, but back in the day, it would take forever to turn on, and it's pretty loud. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I know for a fact my parents in their room had a digital watch, a digital clock. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to their room all the way across the house. I'm gonna tippy toe over there, kind of be quiet because I don't want to wake them up. And I don't want mom to get mad at me, right? Because it was the middle of the night, and I had a school night, so I didn't want her to think that I was awake all night. I get up, I start walking. I'm halfway of the house. Please, guys, do not picture this as a giant house. It is really not.
It was a small house, but the point is we had to. Our rooms were across the house. We had to go through the kitchen and the living room to get to my parents' room.
So
you want to say like maybe as a kid, maybe that's like 20 steps?
Nah, I want to say maybe that was a good 50 steps to get there.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So where my room is, my sister's room is right next to it. There's not even a hall. You open the door, you look to your right, that's where my sister's room is. And I'm talking about Lety here. So, okay. I just needed that for reference because that comes out in a little bit. So I was halfway down the house going into my parents' room. Obviously it's all dark, and it was a little bit colder than usual, which I didn't think anything of it because it was just the middle of the night. As I'm walking to my parents' bedroom, I peek in, and obviously you just peeking into the room, and the bed is automatically on that wall opposite to the door. So I'm looking at them, and the clock is behind them, and I see the time. It was maybe 3:30, something like that, but I see an image there moving my mom's head. And at this point, I get a better view of the person that was doing this, and it was my sister Lety. And she was moving my mom's head, like trying to wake her up. And I was like, damn, like, and I was signaling her, like, come towards me, because I wasn't going to talk and wake my mom up. I didn't want to risk that. So I'm going like that with my hand, like to come towards me. She looks at me, stops moving, and then goes back to my mom. And at that point, I kind of lean on the wall. Like, I peek out of the room and I lean on the wall and I'm like, damn it, she's going to wake up mom and she's going to get mad at us, right? And I'm talking to you about a split second that I did that. Because I come back, think about it, god damn it, I look back in. When I look back in, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. I got a very, very weird feeling right after that. I felt like the walls around me were super close to me, and I just couldn't move. Like I froze, and I was looking in there. My mom wasn't moving. There's really no other place that my sister could have gone. There was nothing there but a wall next to it. I'm looking at the time. Not even a minute has passed. I'm freaking out. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell did I just see? But all I do was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna go back to bed. As I'm walking back to the room, it keeps getting colder and colder, and I look back and there's nothing there. But I feel like if that image of my sister, or that thing that looked exactly like my sister, was right behind me the whole time. So as I'm walking by, I'm walking towards my room. I'm already halfway, like where the kitchen area is at. I look back, nothing. I go over to my room, and I stand right in front of my room, and if I look to the right, I could see my sister's room. I look to the right, I look to the right, I see my sister's room. I look to the left, I see my room. So I look at my sister's room, and I see Lety laying down. She's asleep. She's completely asleep. There's no way she could have gone past me, because I was in the only way to our room. So I'm looking at her, and I'm like, what? I go, lay down. I've never been so scared of what I've just seen. No screaming, no nothing. Just the whole scene was just so clear, so I couldn't really react to it, I guess. It was taking me a while to do that. I lay down. I'm covered all the way to my nose, just enough for me to see outside my door. And from my door, you could see all the way to the kitchen. So I'm telling you, this place is a big rectangle. I could see all the way half across my house. And I was like, holy hell. Like, I was just waiting for something to come out. I was waiting for something to look at me. I don't know how long I was looking at the kitchen, but I passed out. I wake up the next day, and I wake up in the exact same position I was. I wake up just with my covers right to my eyes, and I see my mom coming towards me. She's like, what's wrong? And that's when I started crying, and I told her what happened. I mean, I was a little kid, right? And I was like, Mom, like this, and this happened. Like, what the hell? And I was freaking out. I didn't understand what I saw as a kid. That was one of the experiences that I had in the Mohican house.
Apparently, he didn't even want to look at me.
Yeah.
He couldn't even look at me. But I remember the story differently, because I remember that happening, and I remember the next day I remember seeing him, and I remember Mom talking to him, and I asked Mom, like, what's wrong? And she was like, no, like nothing happened. But I was like, but he told me to go to his room. Like he woke me up, and he went, and he like, Lety, like, come on, like let's go to my room. Like I'm like, come on. I thought he, because I remember hearing him scared, but I just didn't move. But apparently that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like,
it goes back to the whole doppelganger thing, man. Like, what was that?
Okay, so I mean, doppelgangers are their own thing.
It's a whole different thing.
I don't know enough about doppelgangers.
There's a, because later on in my life, Carlos, because I've looked into the supernatural on my own, and I found out that there's an actual spirit that pretends to be you, or that's what they call it, a doppelganger. It's just basically called that, and it's said that if you see yourself as a spirit or whatever, spirit that looks like you could die or something like that. Something exaggerated, of course, because most of the...
Well, you wouldn't have to worry because you didn't see yourself.
Thank God.
You saw family members.
Yeah.
In Luana's case, your little sister, both of your little sister, she saw the mom. In your case, you saw your older sister.
My younger sister, my middle sister. Yeah.
Older than the younger
Levana,
sister.
yeah.
Right. I am hearing this story. I'm sure I've heard you describe this once before, and I almost certainly have heard the Levana story.
Levana, yeah.
Levana. And hearing it now, after I've thought about certain things, I'm thinking back to parallel universes at this point. And I'm thinking, like, okay, what if it wasn't like a doppelganger? What if it wasn't a spirit? What if you guys experienced these parallel universes conjoining? You
know what would have been... Okay, now that we do talk about it like that, I think it would be really interesting if maybe Lety was there in a parallel universe, waking my mom up, and she saw me peeking at her and then not seeing me again. Like, what if there is a different universe that Lety has a story of where she saw me
The thing is,
well, she has a story. She has a story of seeing you go into her room scared because of what you saw.
But I don't remember doing that to mom.
And doing that. But that's why. What if these universes have? At this point, I think we're talking about at least three different parallel universes that could have conjoined and become the universe that you guys experienced together, where you, Lety, have memories of your brother being scared in a different timeline and coming to you at night, and you have a different memory, Albert, you have a different memory of going straight to your room and just being scared of what you saw, where you in that moment where you say you experienced that cold shiver and you notice a different sister.
Yeah.
What if that is actually the same sister but from a different universe?
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because
that's an interesting take on
that story is the one that this is the story that actually still kind of makes us want to pass by this house. Like I think maybe this is why we're really into the Haunting of Hill House, because it just brought back memories of the Mohican house. Because sometimes we could just be driving by and I'll be like, let's go look at the house. Like no need to look at the house.
And there's people living there. From what the couple of times that we've seen, every now and then we see like a car there, and like the house is not abandoned. Like it's not taken over by wilderness, is what I'm trying to say. Like there's legitimately someone living there. Are they experiencing stuff? Who knows? I haven't asked.
It sounds like, if anything, that would be like a fracture place, like where these parallel universes they split and they conjoin back again there. It's really interesting. I like the idea of a parallel universe because I do understand that like we make different choices in our lives, and when I do believe when we make a choice, we do split up the universe potentially. But if time travel exists,
strength theory, man.
If time travel exists, then split universes are definitely a thing, because we definitely go back in time and we alter the course of the universe.
Yeah, like there's I mean, going back to that house, I have another story. This one's not too. I guess the one that I just mentioned was the scariest thing like I've had happen to me there, but there was another instance. This one was during the day actually. I just gotten back home from school, just trying to live life, watching TV, the whole regular teenage kid thing, right? So, just watching TV, and then turn off TV. I decided to run from the living room all the way to my room, and I would jump over the couch, and I would do that like back and forth. So what ended up happening after maybe 3 or 4 times of me doing it, I think my mom was passed out in the room. I don't know where the hell she was.
Just taking a little naps.
Probably. So what ended up happening is I run from my room to the living room, jump over the couch, and then I start running back to my room. And as I run back to my room, I stop where my bed is and I turn around real quick and I hear like footsteps right behind me, and I was like, what the hell? And I'm talking about loud and clear, and it stopped right in front of me, and I was like, oh shit. Like, what was that? And so that freaked me the hell out. Like, that was just something else that happened
at
that
moment. But you turned around and
it
was nothing.
Exactly, dude. I was there. Like, it ran towards me. And it stopped right in front of me. That's why I was like, holy hell, okay. And then in the middle of the night, I don't want to say it was that same night because I'm sure it wasn't. Some other night that this happened, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I used to have a Tony Hawk little skateboard, like it was Tony Hawk on the skateboard, and it was basically like a control car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like a little remote control car. So I had that toy, right? Because our parents fucking spoiled us as much as they could. Yeah. So I had that super extra thing, completely unnecessary, but it was cool as hell, right?
Yeah.
So I had that toy. So I wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it was because again, back then I didn't have a clock in my room. And I just hear a bunch of noise like from the living room. So I'm walking out of my room, past the kitchen, boom, living room. And I'm looking at my mom and dad, and they're staring at my toy, dude. Like my toy was like on the side, like it was falling to the side. Like Tony Hawk's face was planted on the floor.
Yeah. Okay.
But the skateboard was going, like you could hear it going, like it was loud, dude. Like it was just hauling ass. And I was like, why are you guys playing with my toy? Like I told them, like, why are you guys playing with it? Dude, this is the middle of the night. Both my parents are staring at it. I could see that they're freaked out. My dad is super
He doesn't believe in this stuff.
Yeah, he's
skeptical.
Yeah, there you go. My dad's a skeptic, so me looking at a skeptic at this point, and he was just in shock. Like, he just didn't understand, like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. And he had the remote in hand, not doing anything, not pressing any buttons, and the thing was still going. Now, okay, you could put this into a malfunction. I mean, it could be a lot of things, sure, right? But this is just another, like, I didn't think anything of it. I was a kid. I was like, these people are playing with my goddamn toy. That's what I thought, right? But later on, like, mom told me later on that they took out the batteries from the thing and the toy was still going, and they just let it die. Like, that's all they did. They just fucking ignored it, and it died out on its own. That skateboard. But that was just something else that had happened to me in that house, and I was like, holy hell.
Yeah. Speaking about Dad, I'm really, really happy about this, because every time something would happen to us, and we would mention it to him, he would be like, "Oh, it's just your mind playing tricks," or he would just find
your skeptical response.
Yeah, he would find always like something else.
Yeah, he would try to rationalize it.
Yeah. Okay, recently, and I told my brother I'm super proud that I got to experience this with him. We were in the house that we live in now. We were at the kitchen, and you could see there's a door, and you can see to the backyard. He said he saw someone just peek in the window and then move back, right? And we went to check, and there was no one. But he was like, "But I saw it, Lety. Like, it was right there, and it did this." And I was like, maybe it's just your mind playing tricks. Like,
So you flipped the script.
I did flip the script, even though I believed him because I saw it. But
you just want to be an asshole.
Yeah, I was just being mean.
And at this point, it's because we're, again, dude, we've always been super open-minded about things like that when people tells us stories, because we do have a couple of stories, right, that friends have told us, and we believe it, right? But now, like, so we're pretty used to kind of things like this happening. So when that happens, like, and that reaction, like, maybe y'all think, like, oh, y'all full of shit, like, there's no way, like,
you gotta be there. You gotta be there.
You really do have to be there, and that's the only way you'll know what you actually react to shit like this. Because anyone could say, like, I'm super brave, or, oh, and I wouldn't react like that, I wouldn't be screaming, or I wouldn't be doing this. It's like, no, like, once you're there, once you experience something like that, that feeling is, it's unique. It's unique.
It really is.
I want to say that, I mean, I don't have any stories like this, at least none that I can remember. You could say it's fucking trauma being suppressed by my mind.
Could be.
But I'm of the opinion that, like, this shit does exist. And if you're, like, a person that, like, you're a skeptic and you think that, like, all these people are full of shit, or that you understand the world, I mean, you're full of shit. Like, there's no one completely understands the world as it is right now.
This is the first time we're not full of shit.
Yeah, we're not full of shit, guys.
But I mean, it could be that it's not the way that we perceive it to be.
Yeah.
But it is definitely something that's beyond our understanding that we're interacting with in some way. At least that's what I believe.
Yeah, and that's why we're calling it more supernatural. Yeah. We're not like, oh, you know what, we saw a ghost. It was a ghost. No. I don't know, man. Like you said, we interpret things in a lot of different ways, and I think it was supernatural.
Oh, no, it definitely sounds supernatural. I really wish I had a fucking story that I can remember. The only thing that comes to mind right now, I didn't even experience this, but I remember, Albert, you driving around with Luis, and I think his girlfriend at the time. And you guys were driving around the loop. We basically got like a highway driving around the whole town that we've got. Like, it's a little town that we got, and it's a big highway that you can pretty much circle around the whole town with.
Yeah, you go from one end to another during that interstate, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And I remember these people fucking calling me after experiencing this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Where they are just driving the highway at like night, or it might have been like
yeah, it was dusk. It was like 8 or 9, dude. Like,
like the sun had just set.
Yeah,
the sun had just set, and it was dark. But you could still see some sky, right? And the way that you guys remember, I remember this distinctly because the way you guys described it, that you guys are driving, and I don't even remember who pointed it out, but someone pointed out to the right side, like, oh, hey, what the fuck is that? And the way they described it to me, it was like a triangular sort of shape hanging in the air over this suburban district where it's just a bunch of houses. So it's and it's like, oh, what the fuck is that? Because the way they described it, you cannot see past it. It was literally something hanging there in the air, and they could see it because they were driving around, and they could see the different sides of it, but they couldn't see exactly what it was. They could just see that there was something there blocking the view of the sky.
And we were close enough to the point where if it's a chopper or it's a plane, you'd be able to hear it.
Oh, the way that you guys described it, it sounded like it was huge enough that anyone would be able to hear it.
We heard absolutely nothing coming from this shape in the sky that we saw.
So we have no idea what the fuck it is. Definitely extraterrestrial, right?
Definitely a UFO, man.
Definitely UFO. I guess extraterrestrial would be like, okay, well, maybe this shit did come from Earth, but we have no idea about it.
Yeah.
But it was definitely some sort of fucking craft. Yeah. Some sort of ship or something. Like.
I remember them getting home, calling their parents because nobody was going to leave the house. They all stayed over that night.
They all stayed over at the house, man. They were freaking out.
No, you guys called me because you were freaking the fuck out. I'm sitting in my fucking room trying to play video games. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm, of course, skeptical, right? Because I've never experienced something like that. But I trust you guys. I know you guys wouldn't fucking, like, bullshit this stuff. Especially the way you guys have described it since then. Yeah. Like, it is just something that, like, oh, wow. Like, this is definitely something that's beyond our understanding at the moment.
Last story, and I'll wrap it up. I was at my cousin's house, and my uncles and my little cousin had gone to Cancun or Acapulco. I don't remember.
Right, some beach.
They left, but it was just me and her, and we were in the living room. I was in the individual couch, the one that it's like a pull, recliner. There you go. And she was in the two. Whatever. She was in the long one. Whatever.
Oh.
Whatever. It's the long one. I can't think of the word right now.
I think you're thinking about a love seat, but if it's more than 3 seats.
It's more like 3 seats, yeah.
Then it's just a couch. I mean, shit.
Yeah, whatever.
And the other couch.
In the other couch, whatever. She was there. We're talking, and we were looking at something had happened with a superstore. We were looking at the news, basically, on our phones because we were watching Netflix. And then at some point, we're talking, I'm looking at her, and the lights it's the dim lights, but they were all the way up. They just turned off completely. I was like, holy shit. I get up, and I go sit next to her. This is the first time, out of all the things I've seen shadows, I've seen a full boy apparition, I've seen a bunch of stuff, I've heard stuff, and blah, blah. This is the first time my skin I get goosebumps, and I feel like something's not right. I go sit next to her, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to calm myself down because my cousin, she any little thing, she freaks out, she starts crying, so I have to be the brave one. So this is the first time I'm like, okay, no, it's fine, but I'm trying to convince myself. So after like a few, I'm gonna say 30 seconds, but I feel like 2 minutes passed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna turn on the lights. I get up, I take one step, and the lights turn back on. I was like, oh my god. I got her, and I covered myself with her, because she's super skinny, she's tiny. So I covered myself with her, and I'm like this, and we're hugging each other, but I'm like, I need to calm down. After that, nothing else happened. Nothing else has ever happened at that house. But it was like the first week, or the second week, they had barely moved into the house. But this happened, and I was like, okay. After that, we went to her room, we put Disney songs, and we fell asleep.
Yeah, what else are you going to do at that point? Shit.
Comfort.
Yeah, try to cope.
I have, you know what? I actually have one more.
Save it.
Okay.
We'll come back to this one, right?
Yeah.
Which one is it, though?
It's,
preview.
Yeah, the little preview. It's the one where we're at Mando's house, like in Mexico.
Okay.
And we see like a shadow under the door.
The Diabolis?
Yeah, the Diabolis house.
This is it for this episode. If you would like to add your own stories, message, DM Carlos's Twitter, or email me at the Gmails down below.
Thank you for listening to The Far Side of the Moon. We'll see you next time.